Yo, 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 what it do though? Just a baby. You already know, man. Back in full effect. Here we is for another Fireside Friday. Yes, sir, man. And I ain't gonna lie, man, it's been a beautiful, beautiful week down here in Warner Robins, Georgia. I've really been enjoying the weather. Love it when, you can get out of that seasonal affect depression and actually just enjoy yourself for a little bit. But nah, man, I hope y'all having a good time out there. Good week, everything, being productive, getting stuff done, or not, whichever works for you. But first and foremost today, I want to talk about this $1.9 trillion stimulus package that was just passed. Despite Republican obstructionism and despite Republican opposition, and when I say opposition, I mean not now one of these Republicans in the Senate voted for this thing. Like that's ridiculous. So it had to be done through budget reconciliation, meaning that there only needed to be 51 votes, and there were 50 with the Democrats and then the one with Miss Kamala Harris. So we were able to get it passed. And I'm not gonna lie, there's actually some pretty decent things in here. So let's just go ahead and break it down real quick. So there's about, I believe, $130 billion that's going to be dedicated to the reopening of schools for K through 12, and there's going to be an emphasis on trying to create smaller classroom sizes with the emphasis on social distancing protocols. So that way, kids can be in a learning environment and be able to stay safe. And there's also going to be added janitors, added nurses, and there's going to be an expansion for summer school. So, that's cool. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, so I can't say if reopening the schools at this very exact moment is the right thing to do. But what I can tell you is people who are a lot smarter than me have said that it is okay to do such. So I'm going to rock with them. So next is there's this $1,400 that are coming to us. Should be 2,000, but whatever. And so 1,400 for individuals, 2,800 for couples, and then there's 1,400 going to each dependent up to the age of 17, I believe. And that's actually pretty dope because there's a lot of families who are going to need that extra little income. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on right now. We're still kind of in the middle of this pandemic. We're trying to see the light, but I don't think it's there quite yet. But the vaccinations that are continuing to be pushed through seem to be, you know, giving a little bit of comfort and support for the idea that maybe there might be a sense of normalcy as far as being able to walk around with your naked face again. But yeah, I think it's dope that they're actually pushing these checks, not just to the individuals or to the couples, but also to represent the dependents. And also along those lines, they have tax breaks. So now it'll be $3,000 tax break for every dependent that is between the ages of 6 and 17, and then there will be a $3,600 tax break for all children under the age of 6. I thought that was a pretty good one. There's about $50 billion set aside or allocated for COVID, not necessarily vaccinations, but the COVID testing, the contract tracing, things like that. But there is an additional $15 billion that has been set aside for vaccinations and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty dope. There's another $350 billion that's going to be allocated to the states. Now there has been some opposition to this one, saying that the states haven't even spent the money yet that they got from the CARES Act back last spring. So it's kind of up in the air how people really feel about that. But I don't truthfully have any opposition to it. I feel like who knows what each state's specific tax revenue issues have been, due to COVID, due to not being able to be open. Even though there's some states that are just wide open out here. I was talking about like these niggas is wide open. I don't truly understand how they feel like it's, right, but hey, yeah, they doing what they do. So, one other thing that I thought was cool was there's about $28.6 billion that are going to be set aside for bars and restaurants. So I believe they can apply for up to $10 million a piece and $5 million per location. So I mean, there's also some PPP money. I don't know why saying that is just so fun to me. PPP, but payment protection plan, I believe, money that's going to still be allocated. But I do have concerns, or I am a little cautious about the PPP stuff because a lot of small businesses were getting audited. A lot of people were fraudulently trying to accept money. And then you had people like Tom Brady who got like over $900,000 of PPP money, yet didn't really need it. And then like around the same time ends up buying like $1 million yacht, stuff like that. So I do have issues about the way, excuse me, about the way that the PPP money is dispersed and the way that, the process is allocated, the way that things work within that process. So keep an eye on that one because I believe there's probably going to be more issues that come out of that. But for the most part, COVID relief plan, it's not a bad plan. It's not bad in the way that the money was divvied up. I know a lot of people on the left are kind of pissed that the minimum wage up to the $15 mark was not put in here. There was a Democratic parliamentarian who decided that they couldn't do it that way. They didn't need to do it that way. And though Kamala Harris could have superseded that, I'm going to have to agree on the process. I don't think you should kind of push that kind of pork into a stimulus recovery package. I think that should be a package on its own. It should definitely happen without a doubt. I know there's proponents and opponents on both sides of this that say the $15 minimum wage will either crash the economy or will strengthen the economy. And depending on what studies you look at or what people you like, you're probably on one side or the other. Me personally, I believe that we do need to increase the minimum wage. And I think $15 is a great starting point because if we had kept up with the cost of production, we would probably be sitting around, I believe, $22 to $23 a minimum wage per hour. And I also don't buy into the rhetoric that minimum wage is only for high school students who are just trying to make a little bit of extra money. Minimum wage, is a lot of different jobs. But aside from that, FDR didn't say only high school Negroes can only get a certain amount of money and they shouldn't be able to live. He said it should be a decent, livable wage. So I think we need to continue moving forward and towards that ultimate goal. So yeah, I completely understand why the $15 minimum wage was not put into this bill, but that doesn't mean that the House should not put it up for a vote and that it shouldn't go to the Senate, even though you can only get, I believe, 3 budget reconciliations per year, maybe. So I don't know if they want to put that fight up for minimum wage. Not that they shouldn't, but I just don't know if they will. But yeah, so moving on. Now, I know you guys recall last year in May, around the 25th, there was a man by the name of George Floyd who was senselessly and brutally murdered in front of us by having an asshole by the name of Derek Chauvin keep his knee on the back of his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, and we watched the life literally leave his eyes as he called for his mother who was already in heaven. So what did that do? It sparked global protests, movements, revolutions, and awareness for police brutality. And in doing such, it started a catalyst of social activism like we've never seen before. There were literally protests every day for over 100 days after that. I participated in a couple myself, and it felt good to be out there for that cause because I've been talking about this type of issue and this type of situation for so long. Kaepernick, he literally knelt down to protest this in a peaceful way. And they said, nah, you can't do that. I mean, they canceled him, which is so ironic because Republicans keep bitching about cancel culture right now, but they were the ones who were doing it because they canceled damn near everything. We talked about the Democrat hypocrisy last week, but Republican hypocrisy would take at least 15 to 25 different segments to do. So I'm not going to even get into that. But what I will talk about is the trial of Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd will begin on March 29th. And this week, starting Tuesday, they have begun the jury selection process. Now, they have 6 juries, 3 white men, 1 Hispanic, 1 black man, and 1 1 woman of mixed descent. So the bigger issue that they're having is trying to find people who are impartial. A lot of people have already seen this video. It's been damn near a whole year. So therefore, it's kind of hard to find people who have not seen it, especially in the city that it happened in. So a lot of people are like, yo, I can't be impartial. There's no way I can say that, this isn't murder, and the defense attorneys and everything like that are trying to find the most impartial people, but I don't think it's going to be very easy. If you watched this video, if you saw the screenshots, if you saw the stills, if you really even paid attention anytime after that for like the past, I guess you would say 9 months, you would recognize that everybody knows what this was. I understand that there's due process. I understand that you have to go through these, judicial proceedings. But where was the due process for George Floyd? He didn't receive it, and I'm truthfully, because I couldn't be impartial. Y'all. I'm just gonna be honest. I could not be impartial. I honestly believe that this dude, Derek Chauvin, should be in front of a firing squad while lit on fire and then buried underneath the jail. Like I do. I don't think that he deserves any reprieve. So hopefully when they get the jury of 12, they will be able to actually be able, to convict this man and not acquit this man. Because if they acquit him, I'm telling y'all, if y'all thought 2020 was crazy, 2021 is going to be on fire. Literally and figuratively, it is going to be on fire. And I don't know if Biden's going to be able to do anything about it. And if he starts to do the same stuff that Trump did and start emboldening things, we're going to get on his ass too. So, but anyways, the trial will be starting soon. There's 3 charges that they're going after. There's going to be second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, and then they were able to reinstate the third-degree murder charges, which is going to be a little bit easier to meet those qualifications and standards for that. At first, the judge had said, nah, we're not going to do that. So he pushed it back down to the courts. And then they said that they found precedent. So they pushed it back up and he was able to add it back to the list of charges. These are 3 separate charges. So the jurors will have a chance to deliberate on all 3. Like I said, hopefully they will convict him on one of these, because I think the least amount would be 10 years for the second degree manslaughter, but I think the other ones could be up to 25 and up to 50 years. So we will definitely see what happens in this case. We will continue to report on it as more and more jurors are selected and as the beginning opening statements start. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about. There's a lot of BS voter suppression bills that are being passed and are being written up lately. So I'm not even going to get into all of the Republican states that are attempting to just circumvent every type of voting right that we have. I'm going to talk strictly about Georgia, because Georgia's been doing some really stupid shit. Like the House just passed a bill that would attempt to eliminate early voting on Sundays, that would make it to where you can't really do mail-in voting, or you can't have them collected at the ballots. And then also that they want to stop line warming. So let me run through these real quick. So the first one being they want to eliminate Sunday early voting. Well, what happens normally on those early voting Sundays is that a lot of churches will get their congregation together, predominantly black churches at that, and they will do what is called souls to the polls, where they take their congregation and they get them to the actual voting booth so that they can vote. And they do it in a whole group, right? So they're attempting to keep African Americans, that's kind of what all voter suppression protocol stands for, or calls for, is to keep black voters from being able to vote, by keeping them from being able to do it on a Sunday like that. And the ballot thing, I don't really understand that one either. They don't want you to be able to collect them, or they don't want you to be able to send the absentees or just drop them off at the ballot. You got to actually mail it in, this, that, and the other. They're just really trying to make it harder for mail-in voting, and they're making it harder for absentee voting. They don't want it to anymore. They don't want Georgia to be a no excuse state anymore, where anybody can get an absentee ballot and submit it if they want to. They want everybody to have to go wait in line. And then while waiting in line, which could be 4 to 24 hours, they don't want you to be able, as line warming is, to be able to eat food, to be able to give food or give drink or give water to individuals. So volunteers from certain organizations would be out at the the polls, and they would be sitting there giving these people who are waiting in line, relief, whether it's food, whether it's water, whether it's something of that nature. They don't even want to do that. And for the life of me, y'all, I can't understand why they would even put that in there, other than the fact that they believe that if you're going to have to stand in that line for that long, A, you should suffer, and B, you probably won't be there that much longer. It's quite pathetic, to be honest, but this is where we're at right now. And I just want to say, voting has consequences. I need you guys to truly grasp that. And real quick, I'll give you a scenario. In my city, we may have one of the most corrupt mayors in all of the United States. I mean, this man is piss poor, pathetic, horrible, right? His latest scandal is this gas situation where he had signed off on papers knowing that there was a level 1 leak in his city, 2 blocks away from an elementary school. And with March 18th being National Gas Utility Workers Day, in remembrance of something that happened in 1937, which was a school in Texas actually blew up because of one of these gas leaks, killing 300 students and teachers. Well, it's very, very ironic that now these things are coming out. But he decided he was going to keep city council and the city in the dark about this. And those are the kind of consequences that you can have when you elect a corrupted individual into a seat of power. So I need you guys to understand. A lot of y'all say, if voting really mattered, they wouldn't let us do it. To which I always respond, if voting didn't matter, they wouldn't try so hard to suppress it. See what I'm saying? Anyways, real quick before I get out of here, I don't know if y'all noticed or if y'all saw this, but y'all remember Papa John Schnattner or whatever that nigga name is? So apparently my man's has been going through training, trying to learn how to get the N-word out of his vocabulary. My nigga can't stop saying nigga. And I'm trying to understand, truthfully, how much did you say nigga that you can't no longer stop yourself from saying nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, how casual were your conversations where you were just like, nigga this, nigga that? Like, was you talking like Hove or, you know what I'm saying, like a young rapper or something like that? Like, I don't get it. But, you know, he had to step down as CEO and stuff like that because he was apparently calling niggas on the line, talking about nigga this. So I'm trying to, like, truthfully grasp this one because it's too funny to me that you need help learning to not say this word. And I'm trying to understand what gave you the audacity to say this word in the first place. Lord have mercy. They just write themselves, you know what I mean? Like this is just goofiness. But he also believed, aside from him being racist, that there was some coordinated effort, some conspiracy to get him to have to step down because left-leaning individuals started to get more power in the company. And I'm just like, bruh, nah. You just said a word you wasn't supposed to say and you got caught. Just admit it and stop saying it. But obviously, he don't know how to stop saying it. So anyways, from the niggas here at a controversial conversation, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. We will be back next week. We'll talk about some other stuff. I don't really know, but until then, y'all have a good one. Love y'all.